Greetings, YouTube. I found a tag online. It's called the spirituality tag. Though I've glanced at a couple of the questions, and I think they go outside what I define as spirituality. But we're gonna give them a go anyway. Okay, how would you be if you didn't know how old you are? How old would you be if you didn't know how old you are? So essentially, how do you feel? And depending on the moment, I can feel 14, I can feel 25, or I can feel 90. Most of the time, I feel roughly my age. I think, in honesty, I feel probably in my 40s. I'm 52. My therapist tells me it was one of the studies he did as part of his thesis. He got his doctorate, was dealing with how people perceive their age, and he said that almost invariably when he was talking to elders, they always perceived their age as about 20 years younger than it was. So people in their 80s were thinking of themselves as being in their 60s. Um, I encountered a married couple at a restaurant yesterday, and we actually sat with them because it was very busy, and the waitress is like, they said they'll take two people if you wouldn't mind sitting at their table. And their retired age, essentially, and they definitely didn't come off as the age they are. Very pleasant company. Um, which is worse, failing or never trying? For me, failing. Because never trying, it's an experience I haven't had, but failing is. Um, if life's if life is so short, why do we do so many things we don't like so many things we don't do? To stay alive, to keep a roof over our heads, to survive within the system that we find ourselves. It's not always about following your dreams. Sometimes getting through the day is all you've got. 4. When it's all said and done, will you have said more than you've done? This puts forth the idea that what you've done is separate from what you said, and what you've done is more important than what you've said. And frankly, what I've said is equally important to us what I've done. And I think words are powerful. Words cannot be broken. Words cannot be erased. Words will live beyond you. Often the things we've done will fade away. What is the one thing you'd most like to change about the world? One thing? Well, obviously, like I did a video about it not long ago. People's ability to do violence to others, I would change that. I would take away people's capacity to do that without consent, probably. But more realistic, economic inequality, probably. 6. If happiness was the national currency, what kind of work would make you rich? So what would I do if I had no constraints at all? I'd probably own some kind of a bookstore, something like that, gaming shop place, comics, books, things like that. Maybe a little weapon stuff on the side, you know me. 7. What are you doing? How are you doing what you believe in, or are you settling for what you are doing? Both. Both. Because this is the real world, and these questions seem to be postulating a world that I don't see existing. 8. If the average human lifespan was 40 years, how would you live your life differently? Again, you live your life the way you have to live to survive. Sometimes we get lucky and we get to do more than survive. Sometimes we do it with friends and family and loved ones. Sometimes we don't. Life isn't as black and white as these questions seem to be putting forth. 9. To what degree have you actually controlled the course of your life has taken? Very little. 10. Are you more worried about doing things right or doing the right things? Again, there are things I have to do, I need to do right. And there are things that I don't have to do, but I want to do them, and I want to make sure that they are the right things to do. 11. You're having lunch with 3 people you respect and admire. They all start criticizing a close friend of yours, not knowing she is your friend. The criticism is distasteful and unjustified. What do? Stand up for them. 12. If you could offer a newborn child only one piece of advice, what would you be? Become the parent you always wished you had. 13. Would you break the law to save a loved one? You are so right. 14. Have you ever seen insanity where you later saw creativity? No, because I know the difference. And insanity isn't a form of creativity. Don't glorify mental illness. 15. What's something you do uh, differently than most people? That's a good question. What do I do differently than most people? I'm not sure. Someone tell me. 16. How come the things that you make you happy, you don't make everyone happy? Because we're all different, you shallow questionnaire. 17. What one thing have you not done that you really want to do? What is holding you back? There are lots of things I haven't done, and most of the holding back things are money. Some of them are the TSA. 18. Are you holding onto something you need to let go of? Emotionally? Like developmentally? Yes. Yes, I am. 19. If you had to move to a state or country besides the one you currently live in, where would you move and why? If I had to get out of here for whatever reason, I had to go someplace else, probably Vermont. Vermont sounds pretty cool. What other country? It's gonna have to be English speaking, because frankly, I don't want to deal with not having speaking the language of the country I'm in. Not to mention, it's somewhat disrespectful to the people around you if I don't learn the language, and I don't think I could probably do that easily. I'm sorry, I'm pitching with my rings. I don't know. I don't. It's a good question. 20. Do you push the elevator button more than once? Do you really believe it makes the elevator faster? No, and I know it doesn't. 21. Would you rather be worried genius or a joyful simpleton? A worried genius. Knowledge is power, and if you know enough, you change the way you view the world. You won't be worried. 22. Why are you you? I am a culmination of life experiences, biology, introspection, therapy, scars, joys, and everything else. I am me because of an accumulated experiences known as life. 23. Have you been the kind of friend you want as a friend? I try really hard. I don't know if I've always succeeded. I know I have failed at times, but I try really hard. Maybe it's a do or do no, don't try but do but not do. But, there is no try, but I give it my best. 24. Which is worse, when a good friend moves away or losing touch with a good friend who lives near you? The latter. 25. What are you most grateful for? My therapist, my development, my improvement. 26. Would you rather lose all of your old memories or never be able to make new ones? That's a Sophie's Choice kind of thing. Would you want to dwell in the past forever? Or do you want to lose your past completely? I don't want either. But making new ones at least would allow you to forge new thoughts. So I guess that's the least worst of those two choices. 27. Is it possible to know the truth without challenging it first? Nope. 28. Has your greatest fear ever come true? Yes. 29. Do you remember that time 5 years ago when you were extremely upset? Does it really matter now? Wow, these are shallow. But the answer to the question, possibly. I have an unpleasantly obsessive memory about things like that. It's part of my mental illness. I'm getting better at letting it go. 30. What is your happiest childhood memory? What makes it so special? It's time with my grandmother Hilda. Absolutely. I can guarantee you that the happiest times of my life were with my grandmother Hilda. She was my sanctuary. She was my temple to truth and joy. She was the proof that the world wasn't the shitstorm that it was when I was at home. 31. At what time in your recent past have you felt most passionate and alive? When I'm feeling love towards another person, which often is manifested as platonic love, not necessarily romantic love, but I feel most grateful, most wonderful, most good, most happy in those moments when I feel a really strong sense, and it feels like my heart is gonna burst because there's something in here that just wants out. It wants to envelop the world. Okay, 32. If not now, then when? Excellent question. Depends on the thing. 33. If you haven't achieved it yet, what do you have to lose? Everything. 34. Have you ever been with someone, said nothing, and walked away feeling like you just had the best conversation ever? I kind of touched on that, but I'm a talky bastard. That should not surprise you. 35. Why do religions that support love cause so many wars? Because organized religion is the tool of social conservatism and the patriarchy. 36. Is it possible to know without a doubt what is good and what is evil? I think that it is. And I think that most of us know what it is. And we just choose to ignore it. 37. If you just won $1 million, would you quit your job? Yes! 38. Would you rather have less work to do or more work you actually enjoy doing? I'll take the less work, thanks. I got other stuff I'd like to do, and I have never gotten really paid for something I enjoyed. 39. Do you feel like you've lived this day 100 times before? Not this particular one, but I often feel that sensation. I work in a friggin' factory. 40. When was the last time you marched into the dark with only the soft glow of an idea you strongly believed in? My journey to mental health, probably. 41. If you knew that everyone you know was going to die tomorrow, who would you visit today? Well, I want to spend most of it with my wife. Of course, I also want to know what was about to happen and why am I not dying? Or am I dying after they go first? I would be asking, can you make me go at the same time? I don't want to be the person that has to remember all that. I don't know. I don't. 42. Would you be willing to reduce your life expectancy by 10 years to becoming extremely attractive or famous? I don't necessarily care about my attractiveness, but with fame can come money, which can come in the alleviation of a lot of the stresses in my life for 10 years of my life, maybe. 43. What was the difference between being alive and truly living? We're called human beings. The latter part of that phrase is the important one. Human just means the body. Being is the important part. And if you're being who you are, then you're truly living. 44. When was it time you stopped calculating risk and rewards and just go ahead and do what you know is right? It's a case-by-case situation, but I've done it. 45. But I should point out that I am always calculating the risks. It's part of my anxieties. 45. You learn from your mistakes. Our mistakes. Why are we always so afraid to make a mistake? Because mistakes can be really bad. The smallest thing in the world can end an entire nation. And we never know when that thing is going to happen. It's part of my paranoia, my anxiety. Maybe this questionnaire is not the best one for me to take. 46. Would you do differently if you knew nobody would judge you? I don't think I'd do anything. I'm 52 years old and I don't really give a shit if somebody judges me. 47. What was the last time you noticed that the sound of your own breathing? Fairly often, frequently. Actually, I try to be mindful of my breathing. 48. What do you love? Have any of your recent actions openly expressed this love? Yes. 49. In 5 years from now, will you remember what you did yesterday? What about the day before that? Or the day before that? Probably no. That is the nature of life. Who wrote this thing? Were they 19? 50. Decisions are being made right now. The question is, are you making them for yourself or are you letting others make them for you? The answer is both. Life is more complex than this questionnaire would lend you to believe. And I'm not 19. And at 19, I thought I had all the answers. And at 52, I know I don't have any of them. Maybe whoever wrote this will look back when they're 52 and ask themselves, why did I do that?